Foul play in the death of a twin brother found shot to death in Towns County. Deputies in the Northeast Georgia County have asked the GBI to assist in the investigation.
Towns County authorities say the preliminary investigation determined their deaths to be a murder-suicide.
Hello, thanks for joining me. Today we're going to discuss a heartbreaking story and yet another unsolved mystery that's still currently active and ongoing. The bodies of 19-year-old twin brothers Qaadir Malik Lewis and Naazir Rahim Lewis were found by hikers on Georgia Bell Mountain just before noon on March 8th of 2025. Autopsies were done to find out what happened to the twin brothers, and it was determined they were shot in the Georgia mountains. Although the autopsies were done, the cause of death is still currently pending. The tragic death of the 19-year-old twin brothers have left their families searching for answers. The brothers were found dead by hikers, strangers, on the morning of their death of the 8th of March. The authorities have suggested a murder-suicide scenario. However, the family strongly disagrees and disputes murder-suicide theory, not even a question, stating that the brothers were extremely close and they would never harm each other. The brothers were discovered at the summit of Bell Mountains in Hiwassee, Georgia, nearly 90 miles from their home in Lawerenceville. The GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, released a preliminary report stating that one of the brothers shot and killed the other before taking his own life. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I spoke to loved ones this afternoon and they just say none of this makes sense. They said that the boys loved each other, that they would never hurt each other. Both suffered gunshot wounds, and the family tell me they do suspect foul play.
The family is very skeptical of the police's theory. The brothers had purchased plane tickets right before this happened, planning a trip to Boston a day before their deaths. Their airline tickets were still in their wallets when their bodies were discovered the following day on a mountain by a hiker. Additionally, the family insists that the brothers had no prior connection to the Bell Mountains or any reason to be in that area. So why were they there? We may all continue to wonder and possibly never know. How did they end up in the mountains? Asked their aunt. They didn't hike there. They had never been to Hiwassee or heard of Bell Mountains. So how did they end up there? Bronner continued, stressing the family's belief. They had a strong support system, she mentioned. We knew them. They would never do this to each other. Something happened in those mountains, and we need answers. Loved ones say the teens had never been to the area where they were found, which is very strange, and they were very adamant that this was not a murder-suicide. Something had happened. As previously mentioned, the GBI has completed autopsies already on the brothers, but the official cause of death has not been determined and is pending further forensic analysis. The family continues to believe that murder-suicide explanation does not fit for what they knew about the twins. We knew right away that wasn't true, Bronner said, rejecting the theory. The family is leaning very strong on their faith and their knowing of the twin boys. In most recent updates, a volunteer firefighter named Scott Kurland was arrested and charged after allegedly taking and sharing photos of the scene. Kurland was one of the first responders reportedly who heard the call over the radio and responded as a volunteer. Twins' uncle, Rahim Bronner, who has been a first responder for over a decade, said, "We know one of the top rules is to never take pictures and share them of any scene."
My goodness. It's scary. I'm like literally scared to actually go on social media I'm scared to pick up my phone. I'm like, because if I see that picture, I already know that I might have a heart attack.
Imagine if they mother see that, like, that would really destroy her. She's already going through a lot.
This is how the family of Qaadir and Naazir Lewis want to remember the twins. However, now worried knowing crime scene photos showing the 19-year-old's bodies with a gunshot wound have been shared at law enforcement.
It's very disrespectful to this family. I feel like our privacy was invaded.
So sad.
The investigation of the deaths of twin brothers on Bell Mountain, which is being investigated in part as a possible murder-suicide. The GBI has confirmed the arrest of a volunteer firefighter for misdemeanor obstruction in connection to this case. It comes after 11 Alive started asking questions about reports that photographs of the twins' bodies were shared after hikers found them. So far, no other details about the arrest have been released.
The twins never been there before. They never heard of it before. I'm like, that was super strange.
Yes.
Like, that doesn't make sense.
The GBI initially calling the case a possible murder-suicide. The family adamant that can't be the case.
This absolutely just like
Bodies
out of
found
character.
90 miles from their home in Lawrenceville.
They don't even like driving the distance.
They don't.
That's
Because
something they don't do.
Yeah, because they don't like to pay for gas.
Described as extremely protective of one another.
Every time you see them, they're like together all the time. All the time.
And there's probably nothing in your head you could imagine that got between them that would lead to a murder
If
suicide.
they had a problem that severe, we would know. The family
Definitely.
would know.
The Towns County volunteer firefighter accused of taking the pictures, Scott Curlin, was charged with misdemeanor obstruction. Tonight, the attorney for Towns County told me there are no cameras at Bell Mountain. He said the area is not staffed. Now, the gate to Bell Mountain opens at 8 a.m. and closes at sundown. The twins' family says the twins' car was found inside the gates in the parking lot. Their phones, wallet, and plane tickets for that Boston trip.
Family insists that the brothers had no prior connection to the Bell Mountains or any reason to be in that area. So why were they there? We may all continue to wonder and possibly never know. They had a strong support system, she mentioned. We knew them. They would never do this to each other. Something happened in those mountains, and we need answers. The family is distraught, and this is a lot weighing on the mother, sister, brother, uncles, and aunts. So sad. In their quest for the truth, the family has set up a GoFundMe campaign to help with funeral costs and to support their efforts to seek justice. On the campaign page, the family burners shared a heartfelt message stating, "Recent reports suggest they took their own lives, but my nephews would never do that. They came from a loving family and they had big dreams, including starting their own clothing line." And so I'll link the GoFundMe in the comments below, in which you guys can go and read more and support however you can. What do you think happened to the boys? Is there anything you think should be investigated further that hasn't already? Let us know down in the comments to keep this story alive and help the family seek justice. I truly hope these twin boys can rest in peace. Thanks for tuning in and watching End of Time Crimes. Peace and blessings.